So what do we want to do here? Well, we know that we need to create some variables first off. I'm going to be using some ES5 or ES6. We're going to do a const, which is a constant, and I'll show you here. We got some classes and some IDs going on here. Heading, toggle list, description, let's see, add item button and remove item button. So we need to create some variables so we can reference those. So let's just do define a variable of toggle list and have it be document.querySelector. And query selector in JavaScript is basically the same thing as far as selecting goes. It's the same as CSS. So we're going to look at the ID of toggle list. Save that, and that's looking at this ID here. Okay, so we want to look at the list. So this div with the class of list, and that is a class. So we can do, let's call it list div, and that's document dot query selector, and that's a class, so list. And we're not going to do any values or anything with them right now. We're just initializing our variables. Const, we want to do the description input, or the input with the class of description on it. So we want this one, which is this guy. So we're going to do that by copying and pasting that, and that is a class. So it's actually going to be input class description. And again, this is just like CSS selecting. We're just looking at the element, the input element that has the class description on it. What else do we want? We want the paragraph. So description paragraph. Document. Query selector. And that is same thing. The paragraph element, the P element with the class of description. What else do we want? We got a button here with description, so let's go ahead and grab that. Const, let's just call it description btn. Document.querySelector, and that's going to be button description. Yeah, that's correct. Description button, and then we have a the add this button here, add item, the remove item, and the input. So let's do the input first. So let's just const add item input, and that's going to be a document.querySelector as well. And we're looking at the input with the class of add item input. And did I put I did. Okay. Well, let me just make sure. I think that's I'm pretty sure they're classes. They are. Okay. This one too. Perfect. So let's look at the add item button, and that's going to be this, and we're going to be referencing not the input but the button with the add item. I think I spelled it out there, and then const remove button document.querySelector button with the class of remove item button. I keep looking at this stuff. Okay. And then I want to just create a variable that looks at all the list item, the li tags or li elements. So just call it list items. And it's going to be a document dot get elements by tag name, and that's just going to be li. And we're almost done here. So what do we want to do? We've created all these variables. Now it's time to use them. So this button right here says hide list. When I click that, I want to hide all of this, the list, the to-do list, buttons, inputs, everything. Just so it's just the intro, the heading, and then the button. So to do that, we're going to reference that button, and we're going to add a event listener, a click event listener to that button, and we called that button toggle list. So let's just do hide list div when button is clicked, and then let's change the button text to show hide. Longest comment ever. So we do all that by doing the toggle list, and that is this variable right here, which is the ID of toggle list, which is this button right here. Button with the ID of toggle list, which is this button right here. Perfect. We are going to add event listener, and what is the event we're looking for? We're looking for a click. Let's do a function. This is an ES6 function. And then an if statement in there that looks at the list div style.display equals none. So if the list div, which is the class list, which is this, if the display is none, then toggle list, which is that button with the ID that we're referencing, let's do its text content, set it to hide list, which it currently is now, the list div style display equals block. So if it's hidden, show it, and change the text of the button to hide list and the display of this, all of this, to block. Else, the toggle list text content show list, and then list div dot style dot display equals none. Let's test it. Save that. Come over here and refresh. So when we click this, it should hide all of this, and it should say show list. So now, perfect. So now we've got our heading, our paragraph right there, and then show list. Click it. It shows the list, and it changes the text to hide list. All right, moving right along. I'm getting these comments, by the way, by holding down Control in Windows, Control, and then the / which is the question mark key just to the left of the right Shift button. What are we doing now? Change description on button click. So the description, our to-do list. So we're going to do that. We want to look at the input value, but we want to look at an event listener on this button for a click. So let's just do that first. So I think we called it, description button. Add event listener. We are looking for a click. ES6 function. And this, I'll get into this a little bit later, but doing the parentheses, open and close, and the minus and the greater than sign is the same thing as doing this. It's just a shorter way to do it. It's just faster to type. So what are we doing? Description button, click. When that's clicked, we want to take the description paragraph. We want to change the inner HTML to the description input and the value of that input. So if we change this, I want to add that to the end of it. So when the description button is clicked, okay, And we're back. So on my variables up here, I had spaces in the input with a class of description, and it wasn't, it was messing it all up. So I took out the spaces and that works. So first, let me just show you. Save this, and whatever I type in here, we click change list description, and it updates the description. So changed list, and then changed list. Cool, not bad. However, when we click the button, this is still filled in, so I want to take that description input, the value of it, and set it to an empty string. So when we do this, it sets this input to an empty string as well as updates that, so looks better. A little bit better functionality. So moving right along, we're just about done, guys. Hang in there. If you're still here, I am actually impressed by you. Here's where it gets fun. We're going to add item to list when input is filled in and button is clicked. So we're going to do the add item button. Again, we're going to add an event listener to it. We're going to add a click to it. What? A ES6 function. And here it's going to get let me scroll down here for you guys. It looks a little trickier than what it really is. I'll explain it to you, but we're going to create a variable using let, an unordered list. So UL, we're going to document, since we only have one, I'm just going to do get elements by tag name. That's going to be UL, and I'm going to select the first UL. So in this case, we only have one, but if I were to, like, we only have this one. If I wanted to add another unordered list underneath it, then this one would be position 0, this one would be position 1. I don't know if that makes any sense, but we'll just move right along. We're just know that this is selecting our unordered list. I'm going to create another variable called li, and we're actually going to create an element, an li element. So we're going to do document.create element, and we are creating an li. So we're going to take that li variable, which is now a new list item that we have just created, and we're going to set its text content to the add item. My shift isn't working all the time. Input dot value. Yes. Okay, so what I'm doing here, our add item input is this. Okay, so I'm gonna try to explain it in easy, simple terms. So I'm looking at the unordered list. I am creating a list item. These are all list items. So I'm creating a new one, and I'm setting its text content. Like this is leave work, that's this one's text content. Work is this li's text content. So I'm setting its text content to whatever was typed into this input. Okay. So right now, I mean, I could save it and refresh this page over here, and it's not going to do it. I can show you that let's just do this. Document dot selector add item input dot value. What am I doing? Hold on. That is a class. I am an idiot sometimes. Okay, just pretend like none of that happened. Pretend like I'm actually really good at JavaScript. So let's go up and we'll do that. There we go. See, perfect. No mistakes. So we're looking at this one here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Come down here. You know, my JavaScript is working there. It's not showing in the list because I have to append, which is add to my unordered list variable, which is this whole unordered list. You do that by doing append child because the UL is a parent element. So we want to add this as a child to that parent element. And then what are we appending to it? We're going to append the li right here, this list item. And then again, just like we did up here, I want to reset because if we do it now, I can save it. I can show you. We can do this when we add it, and our capitalized kicked in from our styling. That's all cool, but we still have our data here. So we just want to look at that add item input dot value and set it to an empty string. Save it, come over here, refresh it. There. Cool. So all we have to do now is removing the last element, and then y'all can get on with your life. So all that's left now is to remove the last list item when the remove last item button is clicked. And if you haven't guessed it already, we're going to do that by adding an event listener, a click event listener, to the remove button variable that we created. So let's just do remove the last li element from the list. So we did a remove, did I call it item button? No, just button. Remove btn, add event listener, click, yada, 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 bada bing, bada boom. What are we going to do? Well, this one, it's going to be very similar. Document, we're going to create a variable called unordered list. We can't use this one because of scoping reasons for the variables. These two variables, ul and li, are only available in this scope for this function, so we can't use it down here, so we have to reinitialize two new ones. We're going to do get elements by tag name again, and we're going to do the ul, all this stuff, and that, and that, and that, and then let li equals document. Okay, this one we're not going to create an element because we've already created it with our add event. This one we're going to look at the last list item in that list, whatever it is, if it's leave work or ask def fast def. So we're just going to do query selector right there. We're going to look at the li and sudo selector last child, and that's it. Now we're going to call ul remove rom remove child, and what child are we removing? The li. And that is it. Save that, or it should be it. Watch it be just broke. So what do we have here? We've got our heading, we've got all of our stuff here. Hide list, show list. We can change our title, updated title. Click that. There is our updated title. We've got a set of 5 list items in there already. We can do, like, I don't have to capitalize that. We can just do this. Eat cookies. Add item. Drink milk. Unless it makes you fart. Okay, so what are we doing during our day? Maybe pee at some point, because we got ready for work and we haven't peed at all. So yeah, we can add to our list and then remove last item. So we just assume that we have taken our pee for the day, and we either drank our milk and it was great, or we started farting too much so we didn't drink it, and then we didn't eat our cookies. We actually never left work because we didn't go to work. We didn't eat breakfast, and we haven't woken up yet. So that's it, guys. That is our JavaScript to-do list. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me tonight. I hope it wasn't a complete waste of your time. And don't forget to subscribe and thumbs up. I will be bringing more of this content to your computer screens or your phone screens. Peace out.